Good morning from Phuket, Thailand. It is Sam here, and today I wanted to talk about Andrew Yang's UBI and what kind of life that would get you. Could you actually live on $1,000 a month? So we're going to talk about that in this video. Now, with that being said, if this is your first time here, what's good? My name is Sam, and for those of you who are returning, it's good to freaking see you. You had better press that like button. Okay, let's get into it. So if we take a look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is the reporting agency for where I got my data from, they estimate that and it depends upon like how much you're making, obviously, the demographic, whether you're like a married couple with kids, you're married single, or married without kids, you're single, etc., etc., etc. There's so many different areas, but on average, people spend over a little bit over 30% of their income on housing. People spend somewhere probably between the neighborhood of 10 to 20% on food and 10 to 20% on transportation. So a lot of people may think that you couldn't live on $1,000 a month. So I wanted to take a look at that. Now, I'm currently in Phuket, Thailand, doing some cardio. And this video, actually, the idea for this came from American Corp LLC, who left a comment, and thank you for that. I just wanted to shout him out. But let's take a look at this. So we're going to take a look at each one of these categories and see what that comes out to be. So we'll start at transportation, and then we'll go to food, and then we'll go to housing. So transportation. You can rent a motorbike or scooter for $5 a day, $5 US a day, which here translates to about 150 baht per day. There's no insurance requirement like in the US, so you don't have to buy insurance on this. A bike is not relatively that expensive, and there's thousands and thousands and thousands of bikes. There's probably 2 to 1 in terms of the ratio of bikes to cars that I've seen here. So if you spend $5 a day and you rent a scooter, like this is the most expensive way you can probably do this, right? Renting a scooter every day. There's also tuk-tuks or taxis that you can take around that are inexpensive as well. But $5 a day, and you're probably not going to need something every single day, but just assume that you do, right? That's $150 a month. So we're left with about 850 bucks. Now, let's take a look at, because at the end you'll see that like I didn't factor in gasoline, right? By the way, here in Phuket, right where I am by the ocean, there's not really gas stations. You buy gas in these 750 milliliter like wine bottle type bottles. It's just glass. Like one of these, if you can see down there, something like that, like a little stand, but it will have gas. It'll be on the side of the road. And it's 30 baht for like a 750 milliliter thing of gasoline. Anyways, 150 bucks, right? These are the 3 biggest categories according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics that people spend their money on. This is what consumes the most amount of people's take-home pay. So let's move on to food. Just that stand I showed you is the market here. There's tons of these types of markets, but this is the one that's, 45-second walk from the hotel door. And that is, you can get pad thai or many other Thai dishes there, fried rice, chicken on skewers you can get, pork, beef, they've got fish, shrimp dishes, all sorts of different types of food. And you can get that for about $3 per meal. So it's about 100 baht, which is $3.33. So we're just going to assume that you go out to eat every day for every single meal, right? Like the worst case scenario. You're not cooking at home. You're not trying to save money at all. And you get like pad thai every single day or whatever the fuck you want, right? There's vegetables, there's whatever you want, you can get at the market. And most of the stuff is like 100 baht. If you go with something that's more extravagant, maybe it's 150 baht, which would be like $5. But we're just gonna assume that you go out to eat 3 times a day. Who the fuck goes out to eat 3 times a day? I surely don't. But $3 a day, or $3.33 per meal, because it's a 30-to-1 ratio for the dollar to the baht. So every dollar equals about 30 baht. It's actually a little bit over that, so these numbers are even more conservative. It's this morning when I looked, it was 30.38 to $1, meaning if I had $1 US, I could get 30 baht, 30.38 baht for $1 US. Now, I see some cats on the roof over here running around and playing. Anyways, so you go out to eat every single day, all the time. You just go constantly going out to eat, right? So you have $3.33 per day, per meal, 3 meals per day, times 30 days is about $300, right? So right now we're at $450. Okay, now comes the interesting part. What about housing, right? What about the housing cost out here? Well, a quick Google search, and there's different sites that you'd use in different countries than you would in the US, maybe not Craigslist. They have their own type of equivalent site here. And the first page with probably 30 to 50 listings on it are all apartments ranging from, say, $200 a month to, say, $270 a month. This is all through the first page. There's like 40 listings on this first page. And they're not like shitty fucking apartments. The first apartment that was listed for like $215 was nicer than the apartment that I live in Massachusetts. Way more modern. It had a balcony. It comes furnished. Like, mine's empty. It's 1970s. It's old. I had to pay $850 a month plus utilities. And this stuff, a lot of these apartments have a lot of this stuff included in it. So it's much better deal, right? So we have, if you take $200 a month, plus $270 a month, which was the range roughly on that first page of 40 listings, and you add those together and you divide by 2, the average is $235 a month. So we've got $150 for transportation a month, $300 a month for food, and about $250 a month for the cost of the housing. So that's a little bit under $700 a month. So Andrew Dang's UBI, you could live in Thailand. You could live in Thailand by the beach. Think about that perspective, right? You can create whatever type of lifestyle you want if you're willing to put in the work and figure it out. And that gives you $300 a month, right? So then you're like, well, you didn't include gas and all this other shit. Okay, well, take another $100 off of there. You still have $200 of discretionary income to do things. That's assuming that, like, I think a bigger discussion that we need to have is where we derive our value from. What is bringing us happiness? What is gonna bring us fulfillment in life? Because that's what's really, like, if you weren't working, where are you gonna spend your time? You're gonna fucking sit on the sofa? Like, no, you're gonna figure out something that you get value from. So I think forcing ourselves to have a deeper conversation up here about what brings us value, what brings us happiness, not just around the success. Success doesn't come from the economics. Success doesn't come from the money for the vast majority of people. Like, some people really, really love making money and others don't, which is completely fine. But I think having that dialogue in our mind around what is actually important to us is where this should lead, or where we should actually be focusing on, is to understand happiness is the goal, not money, right? Like, yes, money does help tremendously with things. Tremendously. I get that. But you could change your lifestyle, right? I live in about $1,500, $1,600 a month in the US. Yeah, that's it. $1,500, $1,600 a month in Massachusetts, where taxes are fucking ridiculous. Think of like taxes like New York or California. Probably not as bad as California, but it's ridiculous. We actually have 2 more taxes start coming out of my paycheck. Like, insane. I'm like even trying to move to New Hampshire just so I don't have to pay these fucking taxes in Massachusetts. So whatever you want to do, it's not going to be predicated on the candidate that's running for president. Andrew Yang, I agree with a lot of the way that he seems to think about things, but it's going to be more based upon the person looking back at you in the fucking mirror every day and what makes that person happy. What makes that person fulfilled in life? Think about those things, and you can create whatever lifestyle you want to create. If you're like, oh man, that sounds amazing. You can figure out how to buy 2 rental properties that pay you $1,000 a month each. And there's $2,000. It works, right? I have a rental property in Florida that makes about $1,000 profit every single month. You can do it. Maybe like, I can't, there's no way you can find a property that makes $1,000 a month. I did. So maybe you can't, right? Because you believe you can't, you can't. And you can find one that makes $500, okay? So you buy 2 properties over the next 6 years that make you $500 profit. Okay, do it. Live the life you want to live. Like, don't do things that you don't like. You know, it's just absolutely insane. Anyways, I appreciate you guys. If you guys like this video, make sure you smash that like button. Jump over to Instagram and say what's good. If you want to follow along with what's going on in Thailand, if you're watching this after the fact, you can still jump over to Instagram and say what's good. Peace.